Hey guys, welcome to the Gamecast Weekly News Recap. I'm your host Rob Cray, and off the top we've got quite a bit of Nintendo-related news. According to some rumors posted by numerous gaming websites, it seems that the Big N is already preparing a new next-gen console to replace the fledgling Wii U. The project is allegedly called Nintendo Fusion, and actually consists of both a new console called the Fusion Terminal and a new handheld called Fusion DS. The specs for both of these devices are pretty impressive. The Fusion DS reportedly features an Adreno 420-based GPU and 3GB of memory. The Fusion Terminal console is said to use a custom AMD Radeon GPU, along with a 64-bit 8-core IBM CPU and a total of 6GB of memory. This news comes on the heels of Nintendo's announcement that they cut their forecasted sales numbers for the 2013 fiscal year. They'd originally projected the console to sell 8 to 9 million units, but lowered that number to only 2.8 million. Of course, Nintendo is not commenting on the speculation, and me personally, I'd recommend taking this one with a grain of salt. And while the Wii U may not be selling well, it looks like some classic Nintendo games are selling for more than ever, after a 1990 Nintendo World Championship cartridge broke the world record for the most expensive video game ever sold. The game showed up in an eBay auction last week with a starting bid of just $5,000, but ended with a bid of nearly $100,000. Only 116 of these cartridges were ever created, 90 of which were made out of the traditional gray plastic and given out to finalists of the 1990 World Championship event. 26 even rarer gold cartridges were also made that were given away as part of a Nintendo Power magazine promotion. No word yet on whether the auction winner actually paid for the game, or if the whole thing was the result of internet trolls making fake bids. I'm gonna bet on the latter, though several other copies of the game have since gone up for auction. Current bids on those are around $30,000. And from Nintendo games going for high prices, to people getting high on Nintendo, literally. It turns out that a new drug hitting the club scene in Europe is being named after everyone's favorite childhood video game company. Belgian police officials are now warning people about the drug that's evidently a new highly potent form of MDMA, also known as ecstasy. Now don't get me wrong, drugs are no laughing matter, but picturing Mario as a drug dealer isn't really that hard for me. Actually, I think I've played that game before. And now on to Microsoft, who's found themselves in a bit of a controversy after they were caught paying YouTubers to promote the Xbox One. An article from Ars Technica outlined the campaign in which Microsoft paid several big-name YouTube video partners, including Machinima, extra money to create positive exposure for their new console. In order to qualify, video creators were required to include at least 30 seconds of Xbox One gameplay footage, mention the console by name, not say anything negative, and like Fight Club, were not allowed to talk about the promotion. Microsoft has since released a statement in which they attempt to distance themselves from the promotion by saying that they didn't directly provide any feedback on the videos. They also say they've asked Machinima to post a disclaimer on the videos that were part of the promotion. And speaking of controversy, Square Enix has announced that the PlayStation 4 version of Tomb Raider The Definitive Edition will run at 60 frames per second in 1080p, while it's speculated that the Xbox One version will be running closer to 30 frames per second in 720p. This is just the latest in the resolution gate controversy that's divided gamers since the new consoles first hit the market. You may recall that most of the third-party Xbox One games that have been released are running at a lower resolution and frame rate than their PlayStation counterparts. Most notably, these include games like Call of Duty Ghosts and Battlefield 4. No official word from Microsoft yet, though many are attributing this to Xbox's smaller, less powerful GPU. And despite all the controversy surrounding Microsoft's console these days, that didn't stop one hardcore gamer from literally risking his life to save his beloved Xbox. According to news reports, an Olathe, Kansas man woke up to find his house on fire. He quickly went outside, but then ran back inside in order to save his Xbox. Officials say the man suffered smoke inhalation and the fire caused about $80,000 in damage. It doesn't clarify whether it was an Xbox 360 or an Xbox One console though. And as crazy as it sounds, I think I'd do the same thing if my PS4 were in danger. And speaking of PlayStation 4, I got some sad news for Uncharted fans. As you surely know, Uncharted 4 was announced by developer Naughty Dog just minutes before the PlayStation 4 released at Sony's big midnight launch on November 15th. Naughty Dog's community strategist Eric Monticelli seems to have killed gamers' hopes of seeing the latest installment in the series this year when he responded to some comments on the PlayStation blog. When asked whether we'd see Uncharted 4 or a Last of Us Game of the Year edition, Monticelli responded by simply saying, "Huh, doubtful. Wah, wah, wah." And finally, For our last bit of news today, Monolith and Warner Bros. Games have released the first gameplay footage from their upcoming Lord of the Rings game, Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor. The gameplay is already being compared to Assassin's Creed, to the point that one former Ubisoft developer, Charles Randall, is accusing the developers of Shadow of Mordor of actually using the same code and animations that are used in AC2. My guess is that Ubisoft is licensing the Assassin's Creed game engine to Monolith, but there hasn't been any official word from either company. Alright guys, I want to thank you for watching. Here at Gamecast, we're dedicated to bringing you the latest gaming news and much more. So please follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and of course subscribe to our channel here on YouTube. That's youtube.com/GamecastNews. I'll be back next week with more news, so be sure to tune in to the Gamecast. Oh wait, don't go yet, there's more. How about a little video game trivia? Let's see how well you guys really know your game history. Nowadays, the console wars are primarily a battle between Microsoft's Xbox and Sony's PlayStation. But back in the early 90s, the big rivalry was between Sega's Genesis and Nintendo's Super NES. It turns out that Sega was originally going to call the Genesis by another name, but what was it? Was it the Sega Master System, the Tomahawk, the Omega, or the Nemesis? I'll have the answer in next week's show. And before you go, here's a list of some notable games that will be available in stores this week.